So let's talk about one of the biggest banking scandals of the 21st century. But here's the thing. This isn't just a story about greed. Nope. This is a powerful, cautionary tale from the history of database architecture. It's a story about how a single, flawed technical decision can spiral into absolute chaos. Let's dig into how it all went so wrong.
Okay, so our story really kicks off in 2008, right in the middle of the financial crisis. Wells Fargo goes and acquires a struggling Wachovia. Now, on paper, this looked like a genius move, right? Creating a financial superpower. But behind the scenes, they were accidentally stitching together a monster, a total technical nightmare born from smashing two massive, completely incompatible data systems together.
And the fallout from that nightmare? Well, it's this number. 3.5 million. That's how many fake bank and credit card accounts were opened by employees. I mean, that's just a staggering figure. It tells you right away this was something much, much deeper than just a few bad employees.
Which, of course, brings us to the real question. How on earth does something this massive go completely unnoticed for years inside one of the biggest banks in America? Well, the answer, as we're about to see, isn't in the boardroom. It's in the server room.
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to look past the easy headlines and dig into the fundamental cracks in their system. Because this whole scandal wasn't just a failure of ethics, it was a complete catastrophic failure of their information architecture.
So here is the absolute key to understanding this whole mess. Yes, of course, employees were the ones opening the accounts, but the environment that made it possible, the system that basically hid what they were doing, was created by technology. The root cause wasn't just human greed, it was the digital architecture of the bank itself. And that leads us right to the technical heart of the story, this absolute integration nightmare after they bought Wachovia. This is really where the ghost in the machine took over.
This timeline here, it lays out the recipe for disaster perfectly. So, after the acquisition in '08, Wells Fargo makes this one fateful decision. Instead of one unified IT command, they go for a flat structure. You know what that meant? 10 different chief information officers. 10! Can you imagine? It was total chaos. And the result was thousands of apps and databases were just left there, completely disconnected from each other.
And this created a classic problem, something we call the silo effect. Now, the definition here is so important. It's not just that your data is in separate buckets. The critical part is that this separation makes a single unified view impossible. And what does that do? It hides information. It creates massive digital blind spots.
And the scale of these blind spots at Wells Fargo was just immense. We are talking about 10,000 different databases. 10,000! All scattered across the company, each holding one tiny piece of the puzzle and absolutely no way to put it all together. It was an ocean of disconnected data.
And this right here is the ultimate disastrous result. The bank had no single view of customer. Just think about what that really means. Nobody could just pull up a screen and see everything a customer is doing with the bank. So maybe one team sees a checking account and another team sees a mortgage, but nobody could see that a third, totally fraudulent credit card was being opened in that same person's name. The system was basically designed to be blind.
I mean, you can see the cascade of failure here. It was a ticking time bomb. You have the botched integration, the crazy fragmented leadership structure. That creates thousands of disconnected systems. This makes a single view of the customer impossible, which then becomes the perfect cover for massive fraud to just fester in the digital shadows.
But you know what? The fake account scandal? That was just the start. The real day of reckoning, the ultimate test, came when federal regulators decided to put the bank's entire system under a microscope.
They came in and demanded something called a living will. This is basically the ultimate stress test. It's where a huge bank has to prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it could collapse in a crisis without bringing the entire economy down with it.
And Wells Fargo? They failed spectacularly. The regulator, the OCC, pointed its finger directly at the data silos as the root problem. And get this quote is the most damning part. Their data was so fragmented, the bank couldn't even prove where all of its cash was. Just let that sink in. A bank that doesn't know where its own money is. It's unbelievable.
All of this brings us to a really profound lesson, one that should honestly be taught in every business and computer science class, and it's this. Architecture is destiny. The choices you make way down in the weeds about how to structure your data will absolutely determine your fate.
And you can just see the domino effect so clearly here. One bad integration decision. That leads directly to data silos.
Those silos then become the perfect hiding place for fraud. And that hidden fraud eventually causes a massive public regulatory failure. One step leads right to the next. It's a straight line.
So, if you take one thing away from this whole story, please let it be this. Bad database architecture is not just some IT headache. It is not just about a slow system or a clunky report. Data silos are an active, dangerous business and ethical risk. They don't just slow things down, they hide scandals.
And that leaves us with a pretty chilling question to think about. Because this isn't just a Wells Fargo problem, right? This is a warning to any complex organization out there. What ticking time bombs, what hidden scandals are just waiting to be discovered right now inside your own data silos?